Okay, Master Mason note, Jordan Sculp coming at you here. Figure we'll do one up on top of it. I'm not going to get too deep into the NATO military method. I think that they do pretty good, so we're going to stay off of that. But we will get into the vote.com and engineered physics psychology, because you want a lot of this to be your bill speaking inside of the Senate. This is what the engineerings on some of those things are. We need people that are going to go through the system, or some Class D personnel that are in through the route to 60 days in this for the full mechanic, what you're adjusted to do. These are willing case studies, stand for experiment, models of time function, release date. Educational model says you got to pass this. You got to have your GED coming out of here. I think it's a fair rule if you pass that law. I mean, in terms of gun control or your bunker and bullets, zombie apocalypse plays, what comes into teaching the same basic standards at the time that had the effect on the board. So I'm sure I love my American, man. I love my country. I love my country up loud. Quietly. Yeah. I mean, you get some gorillas banging it out, man, smashing. I mean, that's the real deal, man. And you get in there to some places, and you got to be OP, really, if you want to be able to change some of the big stuff. Because when you're OP on it, it's just the basic physics is time and adjusted. You can't really talk about what's there, but what's there mathematically. It's your training crew, it's your in and out, it's making sure they're settled up on the test, the owners are settled up on the test, the civilian markets are settled up on the test, the case studies to how to adjust this and whose file and bracket and their mass equation. This is kind of what defines you every week, every month, over time those numbers come up, but generally over a year, 4 years, things stop mattering. I mean, like, should take care of those, or those are big identifiable brackets, where to put information. But it's generally AB, active and not active, passive or aggressive, passive aggressive, subconscious, conscious. There's good ways to explain it. Mind clock, this circle, that circle. I'll jump around whatever I want. For me, again, special forces training, there's a lot of things that go into McDonald's. It's like, all right, well, that's such shitty shit. I guess you gotta put something there that knows what the fuck they're doing to be able to take that and make that better. Good thing we got governments. Stone mills and little factories, landscapers, carpenter jobs. The quote really is there's types of boxes that do it. Amongst companies, they do generally the same thing. And when it comes up in the court case, we're looking for very specific ones. And when you go to use the derivative equation or differential equation or inverse equation, E, F, G, they're just HTT to what the vote.com is. So I wanted to get into that. I got to peek at one of those absentee ballots, and in terms of what it is, I go looking at that and go, honestly, all right, I might know some things about some of this presidential candidacy, what's going on inside of there, but the rest of this shit, I'm kind of fucking no clue on what that is. So how do you go doing something? You got to go looking up those names, find the good, the bad, the ugly, make sure they ain't got horns or a fucking tail. At least look at them once before you just go filling in some circles here, because this is the test. And, that's going to give me a better insight on what's going on in there to be able to look at this HTT program. How do I provide that inside of the vote.com that specifies that information on their mass gaps, their builds, their engineering technique that fits the new form as much as the old form? N1/2 teaches all the physics where you got to learn and do all this stuff and have the practice study do and then use, because they know this number, they might know some of this number, and explaining it to them there says you can do that stuff now. It gives you multiple things to play around with. Educationally, there is some gaps. I think when you look at the hard spots, You want to be honest? There's educationally always that standard. Every once in a while you get a Mason, you get some. This is how we doing it in special forces now, and that's how you do it. You bring in that Rangers handbook. Before it was one, then it was one. Poof, bang, it's old salty. Why you gotta be so great? That's XY stuff, man. That's 1, 2. Uh, the whole unit, anything the flag wasn't anything from the angle and anything like that. Now, where is the EM field on the board for what that is? And again, when you get to Master Sawyers and Master Masons for their positions in terms of how you have to break down the mechanics of what that is, we just generally everything's all the same but different. On what pump end, how do you break off timelines to burn time, stockyard, saw time, pump through time, unload time, burn time, adjust for models and crew on hot day because it's overtime, and reciprocal, do stuff, don't do stuff. Because block 1 and block 2 don't add up to 2 because doing the same number will give you a -1. If it's just burn stock and the answer was to start burning billets or something that was in the irrational number, you burn a billet, throw 2 up, burn a billet, throw 2 up because it takes that long to do that kind of stuff. 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes. If it's 12s or 24s, 10-footers. Yeah, that winds up being in the marshmallow dual diagnostics experiment. Why is a case study for what branch of we've decided this element is bipolar, manic, or schizophrenic. Now I want to be able to take that physics because knowing that number by terms defines the model that is the adjustable system, so it has to work. In drug and alcohol, I love their method. I like probation as a whole, but you have to look at this as a motivational drill sergeant, coach, train, and Sawyer stuff. And they'll come at you, and it's a softer model than you think. That when I say seasoned, I don't just always mean salty. It's the stack's wrong. This is upside down. That's and I do it like I might throw the table. This is how I want you to learn. The table can rock, can kick, so I'll just stop this thing when they're 1x2s on there, and I want you to line them up by hand again. Use the laser, do that because this kind of comes up like that, and it's a hard move. And I'm gonna watch you do it, line them up, and help you get through that. Well, you do, and you have time to model the home life. From here, I can make calls. You got to understand physics and what harassment based on standard. I mean, a lot of times the drug and alcohol, when I walked in there for marijuana at least, it's kind of a joke. Master Stonemason, Sawyer running 5-footers, training crew and stuff like that. I could walk in there and train this crew. She says she's got an engineering. She went to college for, economics. Where am I going to find that on the floor? We got a Marine over here doing deck cord and explosives and has everything I need in the world. We got an ex-motivational coach, drug and alcohol, in here for his alcohol. Yeah, but that's perfect for me. I love it, brother. We're going to get along just fine. One of the brothers I worked in the stone mill with, now he went over the line a little bit. He might need to be there. Me, all I'm going to do is train your psychologists. You don't have Mouse Ecotopia, the Boy Scout camp, the work program where they take away their lunch breaks and they work harder based on certain things, chemistry experiments, and all kinds of stuff. Again, anything in there, dual diagnosis models, I'm pretty much guaranteed to destroy you on the board. Because they're all engineering frames. Every single one of them are the ones you have to train your students, and not just for you to know. They have to adapt that equation into a marshmallow, a little tasty thing. You can eat it now, you can eat it later, and it can define some things about where it is later. And Uh, in depth, again, I go back to when I was sitting in Delhi. I go back to when I was sitting in drug and alcohol. I go back to when I was sitting in uh, UHS, mental health. I go back to Old Blue, cranking the saws. You put all that stuff together and you put it in the mixing bowl. I got some charm. Because he plays off pretty quick. Some guys do certain things and they get a result, some don't. Some get the wave in the air and some don't. Some can't say things that get locked in and they don't want to get loud because, and that's all about tone frequency based on things. Somebody's pretty much coming over. Well, it's a sauce. You hear guys talk about the kids. You hear guys talk about, every once in a while the hunt. Yeah, definitely hunting season. Weather, operational program models, what's immediately on the day, kind of thing. Take 5 minutes, but for the day, the kid, that 5 minute operation, the kid will never get it to. Left alone, that can add half hours onto it, and done right, it's just like a normal day. That's why that first one hit. Not portable. Big giant condom, right? If you're gonna do anything, you just catch you on the next one.